Hey guys, it's me, Mr. T-Bone. Let's go ahead and talk about lesson 59. Pretty straightforward lesson, honestly. There's not a lot going on here. Adding mixed numbers. So when we're combining mixed numbers, it's very important that we have a common denominator. Okay, you cannot add or subtract fractions unless they have a common bottom number. That's the denominator. Now, if you're multiplying or dividing, you can actually go ahead. You don't need to have the common denominator. But adding and subtracting, you do. Okay. So what we take is we take 1.5 and 2 2/3, and we find the least common factor. Okay. Now that allows us to go ahead and switch them both, so the denominator is 6, add them together, and get our answer. Now, if you didn't know, somehow you didn't know the least common factor was 6, and instead you used 12, okay? Well, let's go ahead and let me show you what that looks like. Because kind of the nice thing about this is even if you don't get the least common factor right, you can still solve this, right? So if I have 1.5 and I have 2 2/3, and I, instead of changing it to 6, let's say I think 12 instead, okay? So to get 2 into 12, I have to do 2 times 6. So I have 12 and 6. 6 over 12 is the exact same as 1/2, right? So I'm going to do 2/3. In order to get 2/3 into 12, or the 3 into 12, I have to times it by 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, so these are the same fractions. They're just a different way of presenting that. Okay, 6/12 plus 8/12. Okay, well, I could do 6 plus 8 equals 14 twelfths, which turns into 1 2/12, right? Well, 2/12 needs to get simplified, so now it turns into 1/6. Okay, which is my answer from before, right? I have 2 and 1, so 1 plus 2 plus 1, 4 and 1/6 is my total answer. The only thing, if you don't get the least common factor, okay, if you do 12 instead of 6, it just means a little extra work at the end, okay? So that's the kind of nice thing about least common factor and trying to find a common denominator. If you don't find the least common denominator, you will still get the right answer. It just takes a little bit extra work, okay? And I think that's good to know, because sometimes finding the least common factor could be a lot of work, trying to figure out which one it's going to be the smallest. So it's good to know that you can just go ahead and find any common factor, do the work, and then you just have to simplify. Okay, and oftentimes, right, you have to simplify anyway, right? They had to simplify over here because 7/6 had to be simplified. So it's perfectly fine to just use any common factor, but least common factor is going to usually provide you with the least amount of work. Now, the written practice for lesson 59 is, let's just do 2 through 30 even. I think it's going to be nice and easy for you guys. And that's what I got for you. All right. Have a good one, my guys.